Hello, welcome to Carol's Books and Story Time. Now I've got a little talk for you about Venice and also about one of my favourite playwrights, Shakespeare. And it's called The Quality of Mercy. It's early morning, the darkness retreats as the dawn spreads, a reddish pink and yellow flush across the sky. Like a jewel, Venice rises out of the pale grey and white mists of the Mother Lagoon. The rising sun glints on the roofs of the ancient palaces and churches, tinging them with gold, a sight worthy of a Turner painting. The train draws into the station. My companion and I alight to explore this city, famed for its canals and gondolas. St. Mark's Square and the Bridge of Sighs. All day long we wander the narrow streets, cross over quaint little bridges, watch the glass blowers on the islands, eat pizza bought at a canal-side stall, sitting in the sunshine on the steps of the ancient church near the Rialto Bridge. Sitting there munching my pizza, I recall my earlier surprise at finding the Rialto Bridge to be a thriving shopping centre with many little shops on either side of its structure. Until that moment, I had never understood that line in the Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice, where Shylock the Jew says to Antonio, "There upon the Rialto, you did spit upon me and call me dog." Now, seeing the context, it made sense. Lunch over, we wandered onwards towards St. Mark's Square and the Doge's Palace. Suddenly the street came to an end, and we were standing on the edge of the great St. Mark's Square. Pigeons fluttered about, pecking at grain thrown by the tourists. A child, hand outstretched with seed, was enveloped in a slow-motion moving cloud of feathers and wings, a cameo picture never to be forgotten. We stopped and gazed a while at the Bridge of Sighs and wondered just who in the dim and distant past had crossed that bridge as a prisoner into the judgment hall of the Doge. We marvelled at the wonderful artwork in St. Mark's Cathedral and stood in awe of the seat of judgment in the palace of the Doge, getting some idea of how the prisoners must have felt when faced by that great personage. Standing there, I could see the court scene in The Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare's great play, where Portia, dressed as a man and a lawyer, is pleading for Antonio's life from Shylock the Jew, who is holding Antonio to a bond, made, as Shylock earlier put it, as a jest. Shylock is waiting to cut the pound of flesh from near Antonio's heart. Words of Portia's speech floated into my mind. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the earth beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. It is mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch, better than his crown. I feel that one of the messages Shakespeare was putting over in this play was man's inhumanity towards man. Shylock had been goaded by Antonio and his friends because he was different, dressed differently, and had a different religion. He had been spat upon in the very public place of the Rialto Bridge, which was in those days like the stock exchange is today. He had been cursed and called a cutthroat and a dog. Antonio had even encouraged Shylock's daughter to run away with much of his money, flying in the face of all her culture and upbringing. A very bitter pill for Shylock to swallow. But what lesson does that have for us today? I mused on. Surely this means that no matter what people look like, no matter how they are dressed, no matter what religion they follow or do not follow, no matter what they do or have not done, they still need to be treated with respect as human beings. They still need to have love shown to them. In the play, Shylock needed to forgive Antonio, and Antonio needed to forgive Shylock. That was a play, but it's very true for each and every one of us today. We all have people we need to forgive. Evening was falling across the Grand Canal of Venice, and as we turned to retrace our steps to the railway station, 3 gondolas swept abreast up the broad expanse of water, their gondoliers singing in unison to a guitar played by one of the passengers. Venice is a really beautiful city to go to. Okay, bye.